Hi everyone, I'm Needlecraft Danny. This is flosstube number 130, and yeah, I'm here to show you everything I did stitch on last week and what I plan to stitch on this week. And last week wasn't a good stitching week. Basically, I had late shifts. Late shifts are always not very good for stitching because when I finally get around to start stitching, I have to leave the house to go to work. So, and after I come back from work, it's already really late, like 11 p.m. So most times I'm up for another half hour where I don't feel like stitching, but instead reading or stuff like that, and then I go to bed. So late shifts are not good for stitching. And this time, not only did I have late shifts, but last week I also had some appointments and stuff to do before my late shifts. So not a good stitching week, and we get to the details in a bit. But first let's start with my travel project, which basically is the project I take with me everywhere I go outside the house, where I think there might be the possibility to stitch. So I needed to get to my car checked out, the yearly inspection, and it's a little bit too far to walk home. So normally I walk to a nearby bakery, I sit down, drink some coffee, eat some cake, and then I spend the rest of the time stitching or reading until they call me my car's ready. And that's what I did this time. So I did get a bit of stitching in then, and of course I also take the project with me to work. So I did get a bit of stitching then too. So the project I'm talking about, or the project that is presently my trouble project, is Sleepy Hollow by Glen & Place. This is going to be the finished piece, and I show you a picture of what it looked like last time here. And this is where I got to. So with this one, I'm really happy. Last time I showed this to you, I had just finished the border and then moved up into the picture itself. And I had a question on my last video if I'm going to leave the words out till last. So this verse down here. And yes, I'm going to first finish all of this picture before I then move on to the verse. And there are two reasons for that. First of all, I think those will be rather fast, and so finishing this picture, just having that one left over, means I'm really close to a finish, and I think it would feel faster to then stitch only those words and not still have to do the picture. So I think that's the faster way, or at least it will feel faster. And the second reason, as I said, this is my travel project. So when I go out of the house, I need to take everything with me I need for this project. The less I need, the better. And when I'm finishing those colors up here, in the end, I will only need the black because all those words are black backstitch. And up here, there will be a lot of black backstitch still left to do. So I'm going to finish this picture slowly but surely, and whenever I finish a color, I leave that at home, don't take it with me anymore, and in the end I will just have the black thread with me, and I think it will then feel faster. So yes, I'm first going to finish this picture. So what did I do last week? Well, basically I had all of the men already stitched last week, and I did one length of backstitch thread to backstitch his cloak and backstitch that part. I did not completely finish backstitching this because my thread ran out, and with another thread of backstitch I would not have been able to backstitch that much, and it would have left, the thread would have needed to be parked, and I did not want that. So I decided to stitch everything around the man, so I will be able to backstitch that. And as you can see, I basically finished all around his foot already. And then I decided, well, to backstitch all of the man, I will stitch all of the saddle. So let's just continue, stitch all the stitches around the saddle as well, and backstitch that one 2. So I did a bit of black here. I will need more of the horse over here, around here, and then I will backstitch more of that. Whenever I had finished a part of the design and had some thread left over, I moved into his, the horse's feet or legs over here and finished my threads. So for example, for the saddle over here, I had some thread left over and I finished that over there. Yeah, that's that. It does look pretty cool. And I said that last time, I think. I'm going to finish stitching around here, back stitching the man and the saddle, and then I'm going to this tree, stitch everything around those roots before I then backstitch the tree, and then I move into the horse itself. That's basically the plan. This is stitched on the called for fabric, which is a 28 count casual linen in the colorway Haunted by Picture Displays. I'm stitching 2/2 full crosses with the called for anchor colors. And the needleminder is from Danka Designs. And now I think I talked long enough about this project. It's going to continue to be my travel project. Today a friend comes over. We might be stitching. We not always do, but sometimes we do. So I'm not yet sure if I'm going to take out my main project for today or if I'm going back to Sleepy Hollow, just because we won't stitch in my normal stitchy spot, which is this one here. But there's basically only one seat in this room. So yeah, I don't force my friend to sit on the floor. So we will go somewhere else in the house. And then it's always the question, do I just take my travel bag with me where everything is already in there? Or do I start repacking my floss or taking all of my 5 floss boxes with me? And that's always the question. So we'll see what I'm going to do in the end, if I'm going to stitch on Sleepy Hollow or today's main project. But we talk about that in plans. Okay. Then I'm also participating in the Full Coverage Fanatics Facebook group challenge. It's called the Tour de France challenge. Basically, the Tour de France is running at the moment, and every day they bike a specific number of kilometers. And that number of kilometers you translate to stitches. So if they ride 193 kilometers, you stitch 193 stitches. Last Monday was a rest day, but all the other days were stitching days for that challenge. And all those days were over 150 stitches. And I had 2 days where I did not get any stitching done at home. I did get a bit of travel stitching done, but no home stitching. So basically my week started out okay with the Monday. I got quite a bit of stitching done and was very happy with that. And starting Tuesday, no stitching at all at home. Wednesday, no stitching at all at home. Thursday, I did get some stitching done at home, about 30 stitches. And I already had 3 days to get caught up with my challenge. So on Friday, Saturday, and yesterday on Sunday, I was busy getting caught up with my Tour de France stitching. I am now caught up, but basically I did not stitch on any of my other main projects. We talk about that again, but I did not get any stitching done on those, which is very sad, but I'm at least glad I got caught up with my challenge stitching. The project I use for the challenge is Norwegian Chip Under Sail, the small edition by Golden Kite. This is going to be the finished piece, and I show a picture of what it looked like last time here. And I'm very excited where I got with this one, because I got a page finish and moved down into the next page. So, since you saw it last, I finished the column I was stitching on. There were a few confetti stitches missing in there. I did the next column completely and, as I said, started on the next page. There are about 15 more stitches to the page or to the end of the page down here, but there will be the water. So basically, my next page goes till around here. So that border I haven't started yet. But I'm just so happy. It's amazing. Yeah, so as I said, I did stitch those. Those were very confetti heavy and it did take a long time, and then I moved down here. And for yesterday, I needed to stitch 203 stitches. So I had one part thread left over, and then I did that color over the whole column. And when I was finished with that color and had the thread part in the next column, I started counting. And with that one color in the column, I reached 231 stitches, which is so crazy because in that page up here, if I had 40 stitches of one color in a column, that was a lot. And now I get more than 200. That's pretty crazy. But that's the reason I was looking forward to this page so much, because I knew that was going to happen, and that I knew I was getting faster with my stitches. So yeah, really happy I'm now down here. And also for next week, or for this week, sorry, it's the last week the Tour de France runs. And once again, today, Monday, is a rest day, and Tuesday to Sunday there are stitches to do. But this week is the week with the least amount of stitches. So I think over the last 2 weeks I did more than 2,500 stitches, and now I have less than 1,000 left for this third week. So each week so far had more than 1,000 stitches, and this one now has less than 1,000. So that is very nice. Those should be faster, so I hope to actually get some stitching done on my main project. So yeah, I have now 5 pages finished on this project, and in the diagonal, so up here 3, then 2, and now I'm going to stitch 1 page down here. It is stitched on 18 count antique white Ada. I'm stitching 2 over 1 full crosses, needleminder from Denker Designs, and I'm just very happy with that. Those sails, they look just absolutely amazing, and I'm not sure if you can see it on camera. In live you can see it, but you can even see, you can even see those ropes on the ship. It looks amazing. I'm very, very, very happy with how this one is turning out. It looks pretty cool. So yeah, I'm now getting close to halfway done with my year-end goal, but I'm just really happy. Yeah. This one was one of the first projects I started, so it's really nice to finally see a bit more progress on this one, because it is my most intense project, no doubt about that. So yeah, it's nice to get some progress. Okay, this one is a little bit complicated to roll, as are all my projects that are very big, so this one as well, but we get there. Okay, and as I said on Monday of last week, I had my fairly normal rotation, so that means I stitched on my oldest full coverage piece, which is also a Golden Kate, and Monday is Golden Kate Day. So I stitched on Colorado Mountains. This is going to be the finished piece, and I'll show a picture of what it looked like last time here. And this is where I got to. So on this one I was supposed to stitch 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I already told you Wednesday and Thursday I had no stitching time at all at home, so therefore I did not stitch on this one, but I did stitch on it on Monday, and during that time I finished this column down here, and a few more stitches in here. I think I was watching TV and I wanted to finish the episode I was watching, and therefore just continued stitching with a few more confetti stitches in that next column. Yeah, so this is stitched on 25 count even weave. I'm stitching 2 over 110 stitch, needleminder from Denker Designs, and I can't wait to get this page finished, because this one will be the last page in the top row. So yeah, going to stitch on it today, and once again Wednesday and Thursday, talk about that in plans once again. But it would be really nice to actually get 3 days progress on this one this week, and maybe get a page finish. Not sure if that's actually possible in 3 days, but I mean, it would be nice. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. that's that. And that would be all of my stitching, because as I said, I had no main stitching time other than my Norwegian Chip on the sale at home, because it was just too busy, and then I needed to get caught up with the challenge. But I did have 2 night shifts, and during night shifts I can take some other project with me that is a bit more involved than Sleepy Hollow, because there's less to do in a night shift and I can spread out a bit more. So I did take 2 different projects for 2 different night shifts. And the first night I took Cinderella Rex Ridges by John Elliott. Basically, if you buy this chart, you get 2 patterns, Cinderella in Rex and Cinderella in Ridges. And you can stitch them separately or you stitch them combined. And I'm stitching the combined version. Last year I finished Cinderella in Rex, and this year I want to finish Cinderella in Ridges. And I'm so far behind because she's involved. This dress is big. And I've barely started. So I show you a picture of what it looked like last time here. And this is where I got to. So yeah, once again, Cinderella in Rex already done completely. And now I'm stitching on Cinderella in Ridges. Last time we talked, or I showed you this project, I said I wanted to, next time I stitch on this one, stitch all the krennic around her, stitch the beads around her. Well, I took it with me to work, and that's just not going to happen. I'm not going to stitch any krennic or beads at work. So I just took all the threads for her. And basically I did a bit more in her hair and a lot more in her dress. Yeah, very happy with this one. Would have loved to do some more, but time ran out. But she looks amazing. And next time I really will do some beads and krennic, because she needs them. And yeah, it already does look pretty cool. But there's so much dress left. And more than half of the year is already done, so we'll see. She stitched on a 28 count casual linen in the colorway Fog by Pictures Plus, and the needleminder is from Denka Designs. I'm stitching 2 full crosses. Yeah, pretty cool. Bring her a little bit closer. Part that is stitched on. So yeah, she does look really nice. And all of those missing stitches up here in here are going to be beads. There's 1 row of beads completely around her neckline, so around the edge of the dress. Yeah, there are a lot of beads that I'm very close to being able to stitch. So yeah, we'll see about that next time I get to her. It's been a while since I stitched on her. She is not yet called in Whipco, which is a bingo board where I have my year-end goals on, and basically I try to stitch on those projects the month they get called. Each month 2 of those projects get called. And then I have a part of my rotation with Whipco projects called but not finished yet. And as Cinderella is not yet called, there's not really a spot for her in my rotation, which was one of the reasons I wanted to take her with me to my night shift, just to give her some attention once again. I think last time I stitched on her was during my March competition. So I wanted to do some more on her, because last I stitched on her was March. And that's been a while. And that's also the reason I took the second project with me to my second night shift, because that one is the same. It is not yet called on Whipco. And last time I stitched on it was during my March competition. And both Cinderella Rex Ridges and this other project, they have very high year goals. So I really need to get started on those, and have not really done that yet. So the second project I took with me to night shift was Mini Magic Mirror by Havden of Designs. The artwork is by Anne Stokes. This is going to be the finished piece, and I show a picture of what it looked like last time here. And this is where I got to. So with this one, pages 4, 3, 2 are already finished, and I'm stitching on page 1. I'm moving down the columns from left to right, top to bottom, and whenever I find a symbol that's not yet stitched on, I stitch one length of thread in that symbol before I then move on to the next one. Except for black. I'm leaving all the black out, and when I have finished everything else on the page except for the black, I will just fill in with black. That's how I did those other 3 pages, and I really enjoyed doing it like that. So this time I did more in the window itself. I did stitch a few of those stitches in here, and then I moved back up into the next column, and there were quite a few of those reds, so I did those basically along the way, and I did quite a bit down here as well. I have a new lowest point of the pattern that's stitched. I did stitch quite a bit in here, not sure if you can see it, that those will be her wings, so I did stitch in there and there. Yeah, basically a bit all over the place, but very happy I got back to this one. I did close to 400 stitches, 410 stitches, but yeah, it was nice to give it some attention again. It's been a while, as I said, in March. And I think I still have about 7,000 stitches missing to finish my year goal. So yeah, I really have to get going. This is stitched on 28 count Lugana. I'm stitching 2 over 1 10 stitch needleminder from Just So Heavenly. And yeah, she's pretty. She's very pretty. Yeah. Can't wait to get back to her. Because it's always fun to stitch on this piece. I really enjoy it. I always enjoy 28 count 2 over 1 10 stitch, even on Lugana where it warps the fabric a little bit. But I think this is my favorite stitch count for coverage. So it's fun. It's just fun. Okay, that's everything I stitched on. So let's see what I'm going to stitch on this week. Basically, my rotation has a few specific projects, and the rest of the projects I will spin with my Tiny Decisions app. And I spun them for this week, and randomly they were the same as they were last week, which actually works out pretty well because I did not stitch on them last week. So basically it's a repetition from last week's rotation. So let's go through that real quick. Sleepy Hollow as my travel piece, and maybe today when my friend is over. Not sure about that yet. Norwegian Chip under sail, the small edition, going to continue stitching on this one for the To the Frost challenge. As I said, close to 1,000 stitches this week. And then today is my oldest full coverage piece, so I stitch on Colorado Mountains by Golden Kite. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so I stitch on my oldest non-full coverage piece, which is Raven Queen. With Raven Queen, I think I showed you my starting point probably 3 or 4 times already and never got to stitching on it, but I once again show you my starting point on Raven Queen. So this is Raven Queen right now. Basically, I have finished the top half of the pattern. I have finished all the background. In the bottom half, I finished the border, and there's just her dress missing. The dress is big, but it's just the dress missing. And I will start up here from top to bottom, left to right, and whenever I find a symbol missing, I do one length of thread before I then move on to the next symbol. She's stitched on 32 count gray linen, 2 over 2 full crosses, needleminder from Denka Designs. And yeah, that's her. As you can see, a few stitches are done in her dress to finish off my thread or to be able to backstitch those parts over here. So yeah, now I just have to fill in from top to bottom. I'm going to finish a good amount of dress stitching before I then fill in beads, and then I continue dress stitching and so on. Just so I don't have all of the beads left for the end to stitch, because I did that, I think, at the top half, and I did that with other projects, and it annoys me to no end. So I'm trying to avoid that. On Wednesday and Thursday, it's a whip go project for the month, and every month I set 2 of those squares get called. The one square that got called this month I had already finished my goal on, therefore I'm going to stitch every week on the same project. That project is called Needleminders, and it's actually quite good. Stitch on it 2 additional days every week because I want to finish this project this year, and I still have, I think, around 18,000 stitches to still do, and so far I did 12,000. I have to get going. So this will be Wednesday and Thursday. On Friday and Saturday I stitch on a whipgo project called Not Finished. So this one was called earlier in the year and I did not manage to finish my year-end goal then. So I'm going to stitch on 4 seasons, charted by Have No Enough Designs. The artwork is by Jessica Gerga. This is going to be the finished piece, and presently I'm up here in that corner. So I show you my starting point with this one. This is always a little bit complicated to show because it's so big. This is the whole project, and yeah, show it a little bit longer. This is the whole project, and this over here is my starting point. I work this in 20 by 20 blocks over the whole width of the pattern before I then move down 1 square and do again 20 by 20 blocks over there, and then are my pack threads above that. And yeah, so going to continue the square. It has already started a little bit, so doing more in here. It is stitched on 25 count cream even weave. I'm stitching 1/1 full cross, needle minder from Danka Designs. And I can't wait to get back to this. I was really hoping to get some stitching done on this one this week, and last week, and it just didn't work out. So hopefully this week I will be able to do something. And on Sunday I stitch on a random whip where I have not yet met my goal for the year. So presently I have 14 whips. 5 of those I have already finished my year-end goal, so those are out. And I have 9 projects where I choose out of for this random rotation on Sunday. And once again, Story Keep the Frog Prince got chosen. It's charted by Have No Enough Designs. The artwork is by Melody Dallon. This is going to be the finished piece, and I show you my starting point on this one as well. So this is my starting point on her. She stitched on a 32 count light blue linen. I'm stitching 2/110 stitch. Needle minder is from Danka Designs, and I stitched this one in diagonals, 10 by 10 blocks. And I'm presently in this diagonal down here. So as you can see, this is the last block that was stitched in that diagonal, and I will try to continue down here and finish the diagonal. That would be the goal. And yeah, hopefully I get that diagonal finished. So yeah, that's everything. I already know that next week, once again, I have some late shifts. I have some appointments before and after work, depending on late or early shift. So it will be a busy week once again. But I'm hoping that I will get more stitching done this week than I did last week, mostly because Norwegian Chip and the sale does have less stitches to do every day. And yeah, just hoping for some nice progress. We'll see. Okay, that's everything I have for you. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, I should be back next Monday. So see you then. Bye.